All right, you guys, welcome to Jess Ask the podcast, where we uh, create a safe space for influencers to decompress, have fun, and just ask. It's your girl Jessica S. Smith, and I'm super duper excited to be here in the building. Desiree,
Come on. We got some. Come on.
Desiree,
Come on.
Desiree. Y'all know that's my purpose partner. Listen, we at the Link in Birmingham, Alabama, and y'all, it is lit over here.
It's
like
lit.
it is lit. Y'all, we at the grand opening. Can somebody say grand? Grand. The grand opening of the Link by none other than my mentors, my spiritual covering, my spiritual mama. That's them Fombies. Y'all get it up for the Fombies.
Hey.
So excited to be here, man. The Fombies are a true blessing to a lot of people, but baby, they are a true blessing to me. Okay. Listen, I have a pleasure of just serving them. They are authors, both. Can somebody say both?
Both.
With an F.
Both.
Both of them. Authors, multiple businesses, taxes, construction. They can build the whole house at this point, ain't they right? Tiny homes coming up. Yep. So I mean, real estate. I mean, they just ask a question. I bet they know. I bet that's why we just asking today. And so we have them on the stage, but we also have their spiritual covering, their leadership, none other than Tommy and Sophia Wilson. They are also both authors, entrepreneurs, and strong leaders in the ministry. Y'all give it up for the Wilsons. Desiree, this gonna be a little, this I feel.
It's a little hot. It's a little hot already. It's a little hot already,
Listen,
ain't it?
anytime Coach Sophia by me, I hit that.
Hey.
Y'all, we like to have fun. How y'all feeling today? Well, we didn't turn on the mic.
We feel great.
Listen, congratulations to you guys on such a successful opening. This has been a long time coming, like, for it to be here. Tell us, put us in your world. Like, from being able to see nothing form into this. Like, it has to be mind-blowing, man.
Man, I was just telling Dee earlier, I was like, when it's crazy how you can believe God so strongly for something and you be so devastated just trying to get there. And the moment he do it, you're just on to the next. And I was just like, Lord, I don't ever want to forget like where I cried right here because this wasn't like where I did this. And now it's just a constant reminder, like when I walk in and we see where, this happening, me and her, I remember us sitting talking like right there because we was trying to figure something out. And it was so just like, man, what are we even doing? Like, couldn't even go to church that night. We was just sitting there. We had to pull it up on the phone and we was like, it was just us. So to see this and to see what it birthed, I mean, for me, it's like, Lord, thank you that you gave me the strength to endure everything that we had to go through to get here.
That's so good. That's so. Give it up for Coach JD, man. What y'all don't know is, the fun fact, we did the first podcast, Jess Ask did the first podcast in the podcast room with JD Fomby. So if y'all haven't seen that, it was, man, them views though, they doing numbers.
Come on.
They're doing numbers.
So much wisdom on that podcast. It was so much wisdom on that podcast.
I was overwhelmed, like sinking in the seat overwhelmed. Like it was so good. What y'all don't know is Coach JD is really a mindset coach. Like he really has the ability to change your mind. And so even speaking about that, Coach JD, I'm gonna give it back to you. How can one, when they have the aspirations, we talked about the difference between dreams and visions, how can one set their mind to doing something grand like this?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I think that the biggest thing is, they have a saying that say, how do you eat an elephant? It says one one bite at a time. And when you really look at it, it sounds funny, but I remember when my wife and I were feeling overwhelmed with such, like, we got stuck in this, like, how in the world can we do this? And her and I, we looked up, she was like, babe, we just gonna start with this one room. I was like, okay. So I think that what you have to look at is, no matter how grand the dream, find out where is the first room you need to go to. And then go to that room and just focus on getting that room together. Like, because there was times that it would be depressing to walk around things that were unfinished and not knowing how, like, seeing it so much like, oh my God, look at this. And it was times that we even had to learn how to try to deal with each other, because the threshold for tolerance, we done dealt with it. Now we working with each other. Now we work. It was so much. It was like, man, trying to figure that out. So the mindset that we had to adjust was the same that we said, eating the elephant one bite at a time, but really just whatever it was, one room at a time. Once we finished that room, it was like, we just gonna sweep this up. Now we move to this, and we move to the next place. And I think that whatever vision you have, just making sure that you try to start from the end and then work your way backwards. And by that time you work your way backwards from the end of that goal, you'll find out what that first room is you need to start on.
That's so good.
And I also want to add to this, if you have experienced many failures in your life, when you start to do that next thing, it's important that you do something that will make you feel successful quickly. Because if you don't feel that success quickly, then it's going to make you feel as if, it's not worth it, or you're a failure. So you have to make a decision that's going to make you feel successful quickly. So we had to transform, 7,000 square feet. And so in order for us to feel safely, we said that we're going to start with one room, and it was the first room that you walk into. So we started with the social lab, because we said that if we can walk into what we deem to be successful in that moment, the other rooms, then we knew that we could conquer. So I'll always just tell people, like, conquer that one thing that's going to make you feel, because it takes us feeling successful. It's different from every person. So if you're writing a book, if you want to write a book, maybe you need to just create the title first. And then now you say, oh, I think I can. I think I can. And then what's that next thing? So always just start with that first thing so that you can feel successful.
Y'all so oily. They're so oily and anointed and stuff. So no, she got to get the mic back, because my next question was for you, Coach D. You are a total package, like that. Can you say that in the mic, Coach D?
Facts.
You are definitely a total
Big
package.
facts.
You are a wife. You are a mother. You are a businesswoman. Have been for a long time. So carrying that and making sure everything is well kept in the excellence that you would like it to be. How does that balance look? How do you manage that?
Yeah, so one thing that I realize is that, the balance means something to each person, and every person is not the same. So if I try to compare my life to someone who doesn't have maybe the responsibility of managing what I have, it'll make me feel like a failure. And so I realize, like, I have to manage my own road. I have to manage my own role, because, like, for instance, if I look at you and I see that you're traveling, you're doing all of this, but you're a single woman, you don't have any kids, you work a 9 to 5 and your entrepreneurship journeys, but I'm married, I'm full-time. So I have to make sure that I'm not comparing my life to someone who's not living my life.
Did y'all hear her? Can you repeat that for the people?
Yes, like, I really do. I have to just make sure that I'm not comparing my life to someone who's not living my life. And so how do I manage this and everything else that we have going on? Because I also work with my coach, and my goal is to see my coaches multi-millionaires. And I want to be a part of that. And so what I've learned to do is every single day, I look at my schedule and I say, I need to do this, this, and that. And I really create a to-do list. And I use my calendar. I use my phone. I use I use the admin, Siri,
Y'all heard that? She used me.
like JD. What, baby? Oh, I definitely. Yeah. Definitely you. But I just really, here's the thing. I believe in my own abilities to do everything well. I truly believe, and people take this and they just say it, but it's indoctrinated in me that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And there is nothing that I encounter that won't be successful. Everything that I literally put my hand to touch, that it succeed and it executed. I leave nothing unfinished. Even if that means, so, because here's the thing, I make even what's difficult look easy because I'm graced for it. And I don't just rely upon D. I'm around here praying like, Lord, okay, now this doesn't look right yet. It don't represent you yet. What should we do to this? I really do implement God. I really do speak in tongue over my assignments. I speak in tongue over my mindset. Let me tell you, and I adopted this from my coach. There are some things that we were facing. I took communion over it. Ooh. I took, that's how I felt. I took, I took communion over it. There was areas in my mindset that I was struggling with. I took communion and I said, God, you died on the cross for this insecurity.
This is so good.
It's
This
the
is so good.
it's so that's how I've learned how to put God into the marketplace with me by utilizing biblical principles. My prayer time, my devotion time. I'm not just reading the word just to read the word. Like the word is what sustains me. I speak in tongue because it sustains my lifestyle. I submit to my coach, my pastors, to my husband because it sustains my lifestyle. It sustains my mindset. And it gives me the ability to see everything. Everything that I don't know nothing that's incomplete in my life. Everything is finished.
So this is what I just heard you say, that you've made a decision to reflect God. And if it does not look like God, it is unfinished.
That's it.
That's what you just said
That's
in a
exactly.
nutshell. So that's why you're successful. Because everything has to, I hope y'all picking up these gems. The recorder, I hope you getting it too, okay? This is so good. So I'm going to transition this question from what you just said to you, Coach Sophia, because use the glory go. The glory go is in the building. So she brought up the word grace. How do you know when you're graced to do something? Marketplace, ministry, marriage. How do you know? Because listen, you is newly wedded, like celebrating a year. You is there go bae, there go bae. So how did you know to navigate and when the grace was presented to you for whatever area in that life, marriage, ministry, and marketplace?
First of all, I just want to piggy off of what Dee said when she talked about the grace praying. Like a lot of people think that's cliche, like praying in tongues or saying don't take all that. But those are basic principles. And so I feel like when you have the grace to do something, it's when God will make it easy for you. Like you can feel his presence, even though it may be some adversity, some challenges, it's like you able to overcome it because you're graced to do it. You feel his presence or you feel God leading you. And so whenever it starts to be the kind of where the burden is, it don't let up, or the heaviness don't let up, or your peace, or it ain't letting up. Then you have to pull back and say, wait a minute, am I going now with my own strength, or am I going in the strength of God? And so sometimes we could start something, we can start, stepping into something because number one, we human, we creative, we innovative, and we have our own desires. And the Bible said there's a way that seemeth right. And sometimes we'll go because it seemed right, but then the grace will burn you out, or things start to be very chaotic. And see, there's a difference between warfare when the enemy trying to, slow you down, or there's attacks. You can feel that, but then you can feel God's grace to still overcome whatever warfare it is. And so whenever you have the peace and God's presence is with you and you praying, then it will allow you to continue on to see things through. So that's how I just believe you just go with God. And when God is no longer in it, you transition. you move, you step out of it. And then if it's by God's divine grace to complete specific things, then God will make sure that He carry you through. So
That's so good. That is so good. Y'all give it up for Coach Sophia. That that's so good. So with you guys being newlyweds and stuff, cause you love your man, Coach Sophia.
let me tell you something. And I do, and I do, and I do,
She told the Lord that she was ready for hers.
and I did.
With you guys being newlyweds, you are a global leader, multifaceted. Um, how did you all? And I guess both of you guys can answer this. How did you all navigate that shift with the demand that is on the ministry and the entrepreneurship?
Well, first, I mean, it's God. God first on everything. And I knew going in that she was an ambassador, a prophetess, and a minister. So it's nothing wrong with, I would say for me as a guy, my pride did not get in the way of me allowing her to be who she is. I knew who she was before I married her. So why would I try to make her feel less of who she is and try to make her not take the engagement that she needs to just for I want to spend time with her. No, we can still spend time together, but we're gonna minister, we're gonna get this word out. The dope dealer, they push what they push, but we pushing the word. And we're gonna keep doing what we doing. And I don't mind being in a situation of helping my wife getting to where she needs to be at. I'm a server, so I'm gonna help serve her while we serve the Lord in getting the word out to our people.
That's so powerful what you just said because as a single woman and in my own right being who I am, right, it's kind of discouraging when you see or hear. Let me be real. I like to be transparent with it. Normally in this segment, I'm on a couch with my feet up and a quilt or whatever. So we're gonna be transparent here, okay? We're gonna act like that's the deal. So I've been told before, you're gonna have to choose ministry or marriage. I can't have both. And so to single women that have heard those things before, what would be your encouragement to them?
You can have both. There's nothing wrong with having both. Why should you settle just for one thing? It's just like in the book that I wrote, I said, talking about I need and I wanted someone in my life. Sometimes we need things and also we want things as well. So why you have to belittle yourself to where you can have one thing in life where you only can do ministry, but then can't have a good life at the same token. It's just like when you go to park, if you're a millionaire and you go to a car lot, and if it's a his and hers, why not buy his and hers if you can? You limit yourself on what you have inside. So don't never limit yourself to someone else tell you, oh, you only can do this. No, it ain't about what only you can do. I can do both. My God shall supply all my needs, so I can do whatever I want to do.
Come on.
And he put a period on it if y'all ain't heard. He said period. I'm going to say it for you, Mr. Timing. Period. That's so good. It's so encouraging too, you guys, just to be up here with, because y'all newlyweds too. Y'all just turned 2. Y'all just turned 2 in December. So they newlyweds too. And to be amongst greatness. Like y'all just oily, y'all are excellent. And so I know one of the strategies both of you guys, both couples use is the strategy of social media. And it's social media can go left or it can go right. And so because you feel like everybody's wondering what you be doing, we're going to start with you. How do you balance what you will show the people and keep your other stuff private? Like, what is that balance and how do you manage what you're going to do there on social media?
Yeah, so first of all, you have to decide what you're using social media for. And so I've decided to use my platform for ministry, marriage, marketplace, and money. So these are the 4 areas that you will find me talking about on my social media page. And if it doesn't reflect that, you won't see it. And also it's important that when I post, I may post sharing a testimony, but it's going to always end good. So I'm not going to leave the people just just feeling down and depressed and out. I want them to see the full reflection of God turning a situation around. And also, like, I just choose to be authentic. And what you see on social media is what you get in person. Like how you see me look on social media, that's how you're gonna see me look in person. Yeah, because sometimes, like, people have they have a negative image to the point that they use even all of these filters. And it's nothing wrong with using filters, but I believe that when all of your pictures are filtered, that means that you're really hiding something inside. And so I decide that however I'm going to show up, and I'm going to live an unfiltered lifestyle. And here's the thing, when you are authentic in your lifestyle, you are authentic everywhere you show up.
That's so good. That's so good.
So you're not going to get one person on social media and another person in person. Who I am is who I am because I've decided to live an authentic lifestyle. This is not a Jesus suit. This is not something that I take on, I put on, or take off whenever I want to. This is my lifestyle, whether it's right or wrong. Like, this is just who I am. And I'm learning and I'm growing and I have accountability to help me. And also, I realize that my social media it doesn't just belong to me. It belongs to my husband. It belongs to my clients. It belongs to my covering, my coaches. So I'm reflecting all of this. So even when I want to address certain things, I don't, because I'm reflecting everybody that I've submitted to.
You just said something right there. And I'm gonna tell y'all how to real this what she just said. So Coach and I have been knowing each other for 2004. So 4 years now. Ooh, you would think it's longer than that. So 2004, didn't really. I was like, today is 2024, not 2004. 2020. That's what I'm trying to say, y'all. I'm blaming it on the oil. They making me nervous. For the math wasn't math, and what is it called, Sophia?
I wasn't gonna say
She over here
nothing.
talking about me off the mic.
I wasn't gonna
She
say
said,
nothing. But the whole time when it
Listen.
started, I was just like,
Listen, I was trying. You know how folks be trying to testify and they mess up on their own testimony? That was me right there. But yeah, we've known each other for 4 years, and it didn't make sense of our relationship, and so, but we just went after God, right? And I remember one time, I didn't know what a rebuke was, but I found out quickly, and I was told to take something down off my story, and y'all, I'm into black art, right? I love black art. Well, I don't tell everybody that no more after this happened. So I get a DM in messages like, hey, woman of God, you might want to take that down because X, Y, Z. I was like, wait, who is this lady trying to tell me to take something down? Now, I had invited her to a conference and everything. I won't say infatuated, but I admired her. And so she addressed me about that. This year, when I had the opportunity to go and speak or moderate for Tabitha Brown, the first thing she said was, aren't you glad I cleaned up your social media a bunch?
Because Tabitha Brown looked at her social media page. Because your social media page, it is a reflection of you. And sometimes you have to trust the voices that God have sent in your life because they see where you're going. They don't coach you where you are. They coach you where you're going. And so I saw the potential, and I saw what God wanted to do in your life. And I knew that God was helping. He was placing in me what's necessary to sharpen you for moments like Tabitha Brown.
And it did. And I feel sharpened, y'all. So thank you for the rebuke, okay? Rebukes. I still get rebukes. Listen, what y'all don't understand is I'm kind of probably overwhelmed subconsciously right now because this is something that I've seen before. As far as I was like, man, my coach has a leader, and I'm looking to my left, and I'm looking to my right. And it's just a panel full of people that this is so good. I was about to speak in tongues, so I know this is good. A panel full of people willing to be led, willing to be held accountable. And so the seed of your willingness to be led is your seed of willingness to grow and develop and to be a leader. Cause I'm I look at this panel, I'm like, I'm the least of these. But they look at me. I'm so grateful for y'all. Y'all look at me like I'm so great. And so I honor that, y'all. So man, if you don't have a leader, if you're not mentored, you missing out. Y'all missing out, because Tabitha Brown wouldn't have happened if I didn't have my leader. It was a point of time where I wasn't churched. I don't know why I'm testifying right now, but I didn't have a church, and she was like, okay, I'm filling in the gap. What you reading? What Bible verses you reading? You need to pray. You need to, you need to, like, you need to do something, okay? Because you will not be with me and have no oil.
That's so good.
You will not run around me. She would not have me on the stage with her covering. That would say it in the mic so the folks can know.
Oh no.
Like, if it wasn't an advancement. And so that, I hope that encouraged you. I didn't try to take away from the panel, but I really felt led to say that. And so with that being said, Mr. Tommy, I do have a specific question for you, because we're coming off a weekend. You guys just had an amazing quarterly meeting for CCL, and you said some things with your transition from your single season to being married to Coach Sophia. You brought up your struggle season. So I have a question that says, how did your struggle season teach you to manage your now?
Wow.
Interesting. To the millions that are watching.
Prophesy. Come on. I receive.
Yes.
Now, my struggle season helped me to understand that God was with me all along. See, sometimes when we go through situations in life, we understand why. We question the pain. We it's just like, why is this happening and all this? But sometimes God is wanting to allow you to go to a situation where you keep relying on him and not on your own self. Because we get too mighty, we get too educated, and we forget about God. We forget about where we came from. As they say, when you come out the hood, you go to the rich neighborhood, and you forget where you came from. You used to eat Roman noodles, but now you eat filet mignon. Remember where you came from. It'll keep you humble. So going through what I went through, I just realized that God was with me the whole time. I didn't know how I was going to get through. I just know God was going to get me through. But God.
But God.
Ooh, Lord. Okay, next question.
Listen, it gets real on Jess Ask the podcast. I'm just telling you, because we create safe spaces around here. You just said something that's so powerful, and this is what I heard you say: that there's a strategy for humility. And Coach Sophia, I'm gonna direct this question to you. With you having the platform that you have, what is your strategy for humility? And as Coach D tell us, she stay low. What does that look like for somebody that's on the rise?
Well, one of the things is my coach, Apostle John, always taught me remain a missionary. And that stuck with me. And what he meant by that is be able to sit with the best of them, but also be able to sit with the least of them. And no matter how far God take you, always think, how can I serve or be kind to someone else? And it also goes back to not forgetting where you come from. Remembering, how far God brought you, and just that reminder of, man, look at how far God brought me. It automatically causes your heart to get low, because you know that if it had not been for the Lord, you see what I'm saying? I almost went preachy on that one, but I'm not, because we're on a podcast. We're not in church, okay? Who was on our side, for real. And so that is how I move, is I'm always thinking, how can I add value to someone else? How can I, make somebody else's day? It's acts of kindness. And so that keeps me humble. stay low. And so when you have that mentality, you God will always bless you because you can be trusted with multiplication. You can be trusted with increase. You can be trusted with influence because you know how to handle God's people at all times through all seasons. And that's how I walk. That's how I move. You see me, it's always going to be humility.
That's so good. And one of the things you said it earlier, staying authentic to yourself. Like you, I ain't gonna bring that part up, but you stay authentically yourself. And I love how you can just talk about, oh, I have ones. If you ain't got no ones, you need to get some ones. I used to be, high, and just talk about your testimony, being truthful to yourself, but using that as a building point for your testimony. And so it's just so rewarding to just see the Instagram version of you and the practical in front of your face version of Coach Sophia, and they're not different. And so I think that's just very rewarding as a consumer. As a consumer, to digest the real you at all times. I think that's so powerful. Coach, you brought up yesterday in a private conversation when we were doing stuff for CCL, you said you always think about the consumer and what their response will be. What did you mean by that?
I meant a lot of times when we're doing things, we're always thinking about us instead of the end user, instead of the consumer. So when we were putting things together, we were thinking about how the people would sit, how the people will walk through the door, how the people would experience. We realized that God was using us to put together the system, but the system wasn't just going to be utilized by us. It was going to be utilized by the consumer. And so when you are serving people, you don't serve people from your standpoint. You serve people from their standpoint. So you always look at every client, your coach, your leaders, you look at them as the consumer and you do for them what they want you to do versus what you want to do. And so this is how you serve another person's vision, because you can call yourself wanting to be a part of somebody else's vision, but you want to be a part of their vision doing things the way that you want to versus the way that the visionary has it. And so what I've learned, and this is how I've learned how to dissect people from two ways. They can either be a helper of the vision or they can be a servant of the vision.
This is so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just realizing that you need both. But if you think that every person who have come to help the vision is a servant, you'll get let down. And if you think that everybody have come to serve the vision instead of helping the vision, you have to learn how to categorize people so that you can get the results from the people of what they can give. And this will keep you from putting false expectations on people. By learning how to categorize people based upon what they can give versus what you expect them to give.
AKA know your place. Did anybody else hear that? Or it's just the west side of Birmingham and me that heard it? Know your place, because this ain't it, okay? Period. Coach JD. Coach JD, you have just flourished. Like, just seeing you grow is, don't cry, Jessica, don't do that. Just seeing you grow to where you are now is it's very rewarding. And so one of the things that you brought up before was that your business came out of Birthing the Link, right? An extension of Birthing the Link, and you've had success in sales, right? You a whole author in these streets.
Right.
But you also had an opportunity to do a lot of collaboration. Mm-hmm. How do you choose who and who not to do these collaborations with?
You mean like business wise?
Business, faith, whichever. How do you choose? How do you navigate making a decision like this is it, or this matches me, or this doesn't?
That's really good. That's a really good question. I think a lot of things that kept me unfruitful in certain sectors of my life is because you know, when you become a jack of all trades, you kind of see success in a lot of things early. So a lot of times, I think that what keeps me now from collaborating with so many people is that, um, you know, if it doesn't align with what I see myself becoming, then I just, you know, it's not for me. So I became a jack of all trades. Like I can play multiple, you know, instruments and different things and stuff like that, and I can, you know, do business things and then fitness and all these different other things. But a lot of times, I'm thankful that God uses them now. But I learned a lot of those things because I didn't know who to collab with, and I didn't want to be without the tools necessary to build what I thought that I wanted to become. But what's dangerous in that is that you get people that will take advantage of you and your vision and your work ethic and your goal and all of that because they see that you want that next level. So I think now the beautiful part about that is that I've grown for all of those failures that we talked about earlier, those experiences that has put me in a place where now any collaboration that comes, number one, it has to be for the vision of what we're building. I don't have to do it alone anymore. And so I look at it, does this serve what her and I talk about on the constant? What are we trying to do? Kingdom City. Like if it doesn't go that way, and a lot of times because of how we met, it took a lot of people adjusting to be adjusting my life to be like, my vision is changing. You can't hold me to what I used to be because my vision has evolved. And a lot of times, and sometimes a lot of people end up dying in places because they are allowing those who started them with the vision to keep trying to be the same battery that powers the vision to go all the way to the end. And it doesn't work like that. And I think that was the biggest thing that I now focus on to come when it comes with collaboration is that no matter who it is, I'm already set up for if it does not, kind of like my wife said, you're either a helper to the vision or you're a servant. And it's not being arrogant or not trying to be, you know, like you think you're better than anyone. It's just like nobody's going to do it other than us. Like nobody was going to do these things other than being here, other than us. So now at this point, if you want to collab, it's like two choices. You can either help or you can serve. But if not either that way, then kind of just move out the way a little bit so we can keep going.
Y'all see why I said he the mindset coach? Like, you just said something so powerful, and I know you can speak to it, but for some reason I'm feeling that Coach Tommy can speak to it as well, is learning because you guys did marry into influential people that like had their platforms and all established.
What? Bro. See, okay, so I wanted to say something real, because like Tommy, like he knew. Which camera mine?
You're right there.
I didn't know. I had no clue. And I think that
You thought she was just a tax lady, right?
I legit thought she was just a tax lady. Like I didn't know. And like that changed a lot of like how the vision happened for me. But I just had to say that because I heard you say that earlier. Like you knew that your vision had to adjust, and that's how you kind of just like, for me, it was a little different because I didn't know necessarily like who she was out here rolling with. Like, no offense, I didn't know a lot of people because I was, you know, Candace, she'll tell, like, look, when you living, you're not thinking about how. I'm just saying. So I can't like, you know, I was a lost lamb. So, you know, it was different. So, yeah, but I'm sorry. I just had to say.
No, you don't have to apologize. It's good. So my question is, how did you guys navigate on who went and who stayed as far as your circle to this new level, to this new realm? Because it's there's
Bruh.
a people don't understand, like there is a divorce that happens with relationships, period. Like everybody can't go. So how did you know who to take?
Where you get these questions from?
I was born for this.
Hey, okay. I ain't gonna lie though, cause that's a good. Oh, see, that's why I joined this. That's what I'm talking. Wow, yo.
You can go, Coach Tommy, because I just surprised him.
Yeah, let me recollect. I'm trying to.
Well, my circle was already, it wasn't big already. I've learned that early on to have a small circle, period. Just because of who you hang around, that's who you become. So I hang around people that's doing well, that have good mindsets, that I look after. It's just not I'm the smartest one in the bunch and all that. That's not cool. But I have good discernment of who I want to hang around as well. And people don't realize I'm an introvert, so I look at things a lot different than most people. I'm going to observe your actions, how you talk, how you look at me, and how you maneuver. If you treat someone else disrespectfully, and like you say, I'm no matter how big I get or how high I get, I'm gonna stay humble because I know at any given point you could be brought down. God will bring you down. So I used to be a server, so I mean I know how to serve. I waited on the best. I didn't waited on the least. I done got 27-cent tips. I done got $100 tip. But I'm gonna still give my 100% every single time. So you have to have a good network around you because of where you want to go in life. You have to first think about it inside of who you want to become.
That is so good. Oh my goodness. You know how you just be dropping the mic all the time? You so oily.
So that's a good. I am oily because of my wife is oily too as well. Yeah, I might be the head of the house, but the oil just doesn't come from the head. It also drips down from my wife as well. So this is on another point, but even when we're at home and she's worshiping and going into the glories of God, if she's upstairs and I'm downstairs, I will mute the TV, get off the phone while she's going in. I want some of that to trickle on down on me.
Oh, that's so
We
good.
Some people to just keep going about their day and going, nah, I cut aside and I'm like, nah, God, she be going in sometimes. I be like, Lord, let that fall on me too. So we both have to be ordered. It's not just one. So that's a little side note, but that's to help the people be orderly.
um, listen.
Can we let Coach JD kind of speak to this because so Coach Tommy he come from a serving background. So I'm so he was raised as a ministry guy, was married, went through a divorce, and he lived 8 years as a man, um, not what kind, Coach? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like player from the Himalayas.
What you know about that, Coach?
And
Coach
then
just learned about that last week.
I, only because Coach just told me. But then he had to come into this lifestyle. And so he had to transition very quickly. And there was decisions and choices that he had to make very, very quickly, or he would have aborted the miracle that God, yeah, the miracle, because it was a miracle for us to come together. So he would have abort it. So a lot of times people, they praise God for the miracle, but they forget that there's maintenance to the miracle. And so he had to maintain the miracle. So there were some decisions that he had to make quickly in order to um, keep the miracle. You see what I'm saying?
You see how she's telling you that she's the miracle, okay? If you
I,
didn't hear it, I'm
I
on the
think that's what we
Yeah.
extracted
Yeah.
from that. Um, but no, like seriously. So, um, I think that I live in a realm of miracles. Like before I met, before you guys probably even ever heard of me, like miracles have been a part of my life. Like from the moment I have been born, which I never really understood, and I really truly thought it was just for me because I was special. I was like, oh, God just like me more than he like everybody else. That's cool. So what ended up happening is by the time this thing happens, I'm thinking that, okay, man, God, you done came through just like I didn't think you would, but I see you did like I always believe. So you have the miracle. And what he had to teach me, and I had to quickly learn about deciding who could come and who had to go. Bro, that question is just it's so crazy because I had a very large circle, and it wasn't because I enjoyed necessarily everybody in the circle. I just like being able to be like dropped anywhere in the world and I can call somebody and I'm good. And that was what I was taught because I got into marketing and sales. So for me, my circle became as good as my network became. So in business, the way I came in from ministry. So let me give you guys a little bit of a history about me because I think that people don't know, and I don't really say it a lot because I'm just like, it don't matter. But in business, I was thrown in like in 2 months, I was passing people that had been there for like 2.5 years. I'm doing like sales. They flying me to like LA and all this other stuff. And I'm in the top of the top. Now I'm from like the backwoods of right up here in Pinson. So my whole life I'm thinking that the dream and all this other stuff. So now they're telling me my father and different things. That's why I love, my parents so much because they gave me the foundation of Christ. But the world taught me it ain't about that. It's about your network. So you can do all that, but who you know won't care nothing about that. So I was like, well, this is what's gonna happen. I was heartbroken after divorce. I became a little bit of a ladies' man. So I'm like, I'm just trying to get to the bag. It is what it is. So now I'm out here, I'm doing all this stuff, and I realize now that I'm in a position to where my network and my net worth exactly where I'm going, but I'm realizing that none of these people full of the Holy Ghost. Like none of them are, and I'm okay with that now because at this point I tried it that way. Wasn't enough power because my dream was too big, not knowing that the dream was going to bring me here. You see what I'm saying? So long story short, deciding where I could find out and who I wanted to bring with me on this journey, by the time I'm thinking that my life is just a series of miracles because I'm the same one that got flown out when I was doing the business thing. I'm the same one God did. So even I'm in God, out God, he still got miracles on. No, it's not. And I found out that the maintenance of the miracle, what God was showing me is that anything that you're willing to put forth the maintenance for, you can have. It's not about whether it's going to work or it won't work. It's literally the fact of are you willing to work it until it works?
Wow.
And for me, I wasn't willing to work certain things past a certain point. So what I found out is that now here it is, I got this miracle. And the moment I'm realizing like this is different because, this is awesome. And the whole time she's telling me, babe, I'm trying to tell you my life normally ain't like this. Now, y'all got to understand. How you get them is how you supposed to keep them. She didn't do that. She tricked me. I was like, where you got me so different? Because I didn't know we were friends. And what was crazy is, Tommy, when you kicking it with you just talking, that was the level of like lightness it had. Like you was like, Lord, send me my wife. I was like, she dope. I'm cool. I got situationship, unfaithful relationship, other relationship, another ship. I think I bought a toy ship. Who knows? All the different ships. I was shipped out. Because I felt like, and the crazy part, and let me tell you how, listen how prophetic this point in this whole thing is. Because of the way she approached me about where I was, she didn't even look like the way that I thought ministry was supposed to look like. Wow. Oh, so you all types of miracles, cuz? You all types of miracles.
Don't be trying to kiss each other through the mic.
I'm just saying. Because I didn't see her coming. Y'all got to hear me on this. I didn't see her coming. Gerald. I ain't see it coming, bro. Look, Gerald, I gave her the best advice. I tell you, ask my girls right now, what's the best advice I gave them? Gerald, you'll tell them later, okay? But I literally didn't see it coming. So I'm like, oh my God. Y'all got to understand. Y'all are seeing this. Imagine living it. Tommy, can you imagine? They really can't imagine living it. So Tommy roared her in. I was just roaring because I was just turned up probably from some type of time we were having. You roared. And you roared, and then you said you knew what you was looking for. Okay, so.
Okay, for the people that may be watching this and don't understand this whole roar concept,
Oh, oh, I'm sorry.
Coach, y'all be assuming everybody church and everybody ain't church.
I did
So,
start.
so yeah, I roared him in. So I like that you said that. Like, how do I roar? Like, literally, I just prayed, like, ho! Like, hey! Y'all like, what is that loud noise? No, that's literally like Holy Spirit make intercession with groanings and utterances that cannot be understood. So, because every time when I said I was ready for my husband, like, I start having what I thought. And then when I just really yielded and said, Holy Spirit knows the perfect man of God that is designed for me. So I just prayed in the spirit, and yeah, and boom.
There it is.
All that ass on.
No,
That wasn't my prayer.
He had to get rid of his roster. Because he did have a lineup too, like, you know what I mean?
I knew it. He never talks about it. He never said anything.
He quiet over there.
He
He's
never
like,
testified.
I knew I wanted her.
He never talks about that.
He never testified.
See, that wasn't my story. I had gone through a divorce after 16 years, so I was planning on dating in every city, state, country, and continent. I was gonna date in every flavor. I was just like, was I not ready to date, Coach? Because I got in trouble one time.
I kept telling her, D, you need to calm down. Just calm down. She said, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready. Listen, I was so ready, y'all. I don't even know if I told y'all this. I was so ready that let me tell you about spiritual covering. When you have a spiritual covering for real. So I had flew out of state to meet this guy, okay? And Coach called me, and she normally FaceTime, okay? So when she FaceTimed me, I declined. And so I was going to call her instead. So I called her, and then she said, D, FaceTime me. While I'm out of state.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
I had to see something. I don't know. But the Holy Ghost wouldn't let me. The Holy Ghost in her wouldn't let me. I was arrested immediately. And I remember saying these simple words to God. Because y'all got to keep in mind, I have been married since I was 25 years old, and I'm over 40 now. So I don't know how to be a kept woman. So I'm like, God, I whispered these little words. And I don't want to be kept. So I whispered these words to God. And I told him this. I said, God, I said, if you don't send me a covering, I'm going to mess up this ministry. And I didn't know that those simple words, and I said it during a vulnerable time to God. Now I'm afraid because I'm at war with my flesh. I'm at war in my flesh. Watch this. I'm at war in my flesh with both sexes, with female
You're
and
getting
male.
real. Wow. You're getting real, Coach.
And I'm telling my coach, like, wait a minute. Like, see, because when you've been in both lifestyles, now you have different options, different choices, and people are willing to cover you while you make bad choices. And so now I'm like, God, I need you to help me because I didn't realize how wicked the world had really become because I had not been in the world. So now I'm uncovered in this single lifestyle, and there are people from the pulpit, from the streets, that's coming at me from both lifestyles. And I'm scared, like for real. I don't know if I have enough in me to be kept. So now I'm praying like, God, like I want to be kept. And God, he'll keep you from falling. But this world, I haven't had to manage. And this thing was scary. I'm saying I didn't know. So now that's why I pray differently for my single people. I pray differently because I didn't know that they had to endure all of this temptation while trying to love God. Back then, that was one thing. But the world has gotten more wicked. And so I'm scared. And I whispered this in my vulnerability. because I know that I got this ministry, I got mentees, I got spiritual daughters that look up to me to make the right decision, not just when they're around. In their absence, when nobody knows, they still need me to make good decisions. And I thank God for my leader, because during my vulnerable moments, I was able to call like, Coach, I don't know what this is. And God sent this man of God. So y'all look at him. This man of God have covered me so that I could protect the ministry that God has given me. So he wasn't just like lovey-dovey, even though I loved everything about him. Half of the stuff I can't even hardly concentrate because I'm so attracted to this man, okay? Like, it's just the way his
Focus,
lips.
Coach. Focus.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just everything about him. And that's good, but he was sent to my life for more than that. He had to cover me so that I can continue to do ministry from a clean place.
That's so good. Yeah, y'all clap that up. Dog. Yeah. Glory. Do y'all want to sow a seed on that? But in all seriousness, I can't let this go. Coach Sophia, you might want to get the mic. You said something in connection. So she has a story of where she was married before. And y'all, if y'all have a question, I'm going to take a couple questions. So be prepared. Okay, there's no warning. She came from a situation where she was married since 25. This is your first marriage. But you said something a few moments ago where you said, I was ready for this. A lot of single women be like, oh, I'm ready. I want my man. Put a ring on it. Come on. Period. And they be lying. So what does ready look like?
You know, that's really good. So first, when I realized I had false humility about wanting to be married was when different prophets or different people were saying, God's going to send your husband is coming. I was feeling offended because I felt like you're just saying that because I'm single, I'm doing ministry. And then when I was single, it wasn't that I hated being single. Like, I was single and thriving. I was very successful being single. And so one time it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I was like, I'm good. But then when I was riding home, I was like, man, I'm not. Like, I just got through pouring out preaching. It's cold. It's dark at 5 o'clock. I'm by myself in these streets. I got to take the trash out in the snow, in the cold. Like, I mean, serious, like a lot of things, and I'm going home, and I'm by myself. And I just was like, man, I don't like this. And so to fast forward, I remember then going to a meeting with my team, and I was just speaking prophetically. And I remember making an announcement. I said, the Lord says your husbands are coming and families are coming. And I'm prophesying this, and people getting excited. But what thought I was saying was, for the women that are married already, their husbands would be a part of the group. And so literally before that meeting ended, it was 3 or 4 couples that said, Coach, get in this picture with us, because this is the last year you're going to be taking a picture by yourself with us. Normally, I would go off. I ain't getting in that picture. I ain't married, you know. But I took the picture in faith. I just believed. It was like something was like, man, I'm ready for this, right? Wow. And so I took the picture in faith, got home, and I was on my way to pick up my little dog, right? And I remember saying, God, I'm ready. Like, but then I said, make me a wife. I said, make me a wife and do whatever you need to do to prepare me to be an amazing wife, and help me to have a desire to submit and serve. Like, take out anything that would make me object to coming under and submitting to the man of God. And so God started to really prepare my heart. He started to, it was like little things to make me, I was serving people. I was doing things that I typically wouldn't do, but that was all a part of the preparation And then I started just praying. God said, because you believed in faith. And then a prophet called me, Prophet Marcus, and he said, in like 60 days, your husband gonna show up and it'll be a forever honeymoon. And he started to describe the characteristics of the type of man that God was sending me. And I'm like, my God in heaven, like I receive it. And it literally about 60 days later, it happened. Tommy showed up. But what's so funny is I had a glimpse of him at that time in 2017. He was already married, but I didn't know. I just was going to church, saw this fine man, and I was like, oh, who is that? My friend said he married. I never seen him again. I had been to their church so many times, but I never seen him again, and he was still there. And so when she did what she did with sending him a picture without asking me, which I'm so grateful, because had she told me she was going to send this man a picture of me, I would have tripped. Sent him the picture, and yeah, the rest was like history. But that's what preparation is. Really, a lot of women are so hard with, I don't need a man, or I'm good, because we are afraid of being disappointed, or we are afraid of waiting, or we're hurt, or we feel like we can do this by ourselves. Well, I don't want to do it by myself. And I wanted God to send me my man of God that I can love and who will love me back. And baby, when I tell you, God did his good thing. He really did.
Period. You low key just came from my neck, Coach Sophia. Because transparent moment. I've been the woman. I'm coming out of it. Okay, coming out of the single mindset of. Let me put it this way. I had a conversation with a friend, and he said there's a difference between being lonely and being single. And I had to think about it. I was like, man, I was acting desperate because I was lonely. I had this mindset of I can do bad all by myself because I'm lonely and experiencing rejection and experiencing all these feelings and, acting out of my loneliness, not whatever. But now I feel like I'm coming into this space of singleness. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. I can really do this. I can be on a podcast. I can serve and not saying, oh, they want me to serve because I ain't got no kids. Shout out to my nieces and nephews. Ooh, I've been with them all. They keep me humble. But I think you just spoke to one of the things that I took from it personally is that false humility. And once you break that, then you open yourself up for what God really wants for you. So that's good. Y'all give it up for the panelists, the Wilsons and the Fombys and the Wilsons. And so now, these gonna be rules to the questions, y'all. Okay? I'm just playing. Listen, if you have a question, just raise your hand. Please tell us who you're directing the question to and be clear on your question, okay? All right, we got a mic. Desiree, got a mic. All right, any questions? Any questions on the floor? Okay, don't be shy. I'm about to say, don't be shy. And Kendall, you can come up here if you got a question. Shout out to my sister in the back, handling it, putting it down. She does my hair. Kendall's dreadheads. Shameless plug.
Okay, I guess either person can, because both of you are married. I've been married before, divorced, bad. I won't say it was a bad pick because I have 3 beautiful children from it. He tried to kill me, but it wasn't. I wouldn't say a bad pick. My late husband passed 2 years ago, and how do you get, I guess, the confidence in saying, okay, this is the right choice for me? Yeah.
I would say that first of all, you have confidence in yourself of who you are, and don't let nobody tell you any different. Keep the opinions from others out of your mind, and knowing that you're a good person and that we all make mistakes. I was married for 21 and a half years, but I was in that state too that I didn't want to go through that again. I didn't think I wanted to go down that aisle again, to be married again, to be hurt. But when you put that mindset or that thinking that you're gonna get hurt again, you will get hurt. So I changed my mindset and said, Lord, send me my wife the way I can show them who I am, and so I can be the best person for them. I changed. I have learned from my past. I have learned from my experiences. So I'm gonna give my wife the better version of the Tommy that has become.
That's so good.
So good. Thank you for asking that question. That was a good question. Kendall is right. Oh.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Daniels. I'm directing this question to Miss D Fomby and anybody else that want to answer. Okay, so first of all, I was married twice. The first marriage, I found out the guy was living a homosexual lifestyle, so that failed. The second marriage, it was okay, all the man that I needed, but he wasn't like spiritually on the same level. He was always like calling me a B for every little thing. I was being strong, but not strong in the Lord. He recently passed away, but those are my daughter's father. He was a good father in my eyes. So I would say if, well, my excuse is now I feel like I wasted a lot of time with my life with the Lord. So I'm really not looking for anybody, but a lot of people be coming for me and not coming for me, but telling me the Lord gonna send me somebody. But I'm like, you don't. I reject the word. I'm just pretty much saying. So I feel like my time is for me and the Lord to get my time redeemed, and I'm looking after my daughters as well because I might not trust any man around my daughters that's not their father. So the question is, how can I handle that? All of that. Just speak to that.
Yeah, so first, when it comes to just trusting someone to be a part of your life, really, this is an opportunity where you have to learn how not to ignore the signs and not to ignore what God is showing you. Oftentimes, we make excuses for people because we know their potential. But one of the things that the Lord told me is that He created all of us with potential. And that is not a reason to ignore what you see a person doing today. And so if I was to use that wisdom when it comes to relationships that I have had in my life, I wouldn't just think about the potential of who they become. I would also be mindful as to who they are today. And so not to ignore the signs. And then number two, I have a daughter. And so I had to consider the man that I was marrying and whether or not, or how to bring him around her, whether or not she was going to accept him since her father is very active in her life and she really loves her dad. And so this was a conversation that JD and we had to have. First of all, I had to show her that I was comfortable with being around him. And then number two, I had to have a conversation with her. And I also had to hear what she was saying and what she wasn't saying, which means that if she didn't feel comfortable being around him, it wasn't something I had to force. Like one of the things I realized is like I did not want to force my daughter to be around somebody that she may not have been comfortable with, because if I did that now, as she grow up, she would think that it's okay when men force themselves on her. So I had to talk to her about our relationship and talk to her about her feelings. And then from there, just because I was comfortable with her, I had to give her time to be comfortable with him. So I didn't just force him on her. I had to give time. Does that help? Okay.
Shoot, that helped me.
Praise the Lord. Y'all helping me too. So, Cara Clark, as a single woman, one of my biggest challenges is I like to move how I move. And while I definitely am excited about God sending my husband, what I think makes me a little nervous sometimes is like, God, is the man that you're going to send me going to understand what I do for you? And so as as you guys were preparing, how did you prepare your mind to receive in a way to where you didn't block it out from that level of selfishness that says, I want to move how I want to move. And if I just got a date forever so I don't have to be accountable to somebody, you know what, how did you guys navigate that through that to get to a place where you could say I'm prepared?
So I think that's when it comes to saying, ask instead of just asking God to send your husband, asking him to make you a wife and to make you ready. And those are good decisions because I remember I would just easily be gone, catch a flight, I'm out. I mean, that independence, absolutely, without asking questions, without considering anyone else, and I could just come and go as I please. But I realized I was tired of doing that by myself. And when I said I was ready, that meant I was ready to submit and to be accountable to someone else in regards to the decisions I made. And so so I knew I was ready when I was also ready to share space. When I was ready, so I was processing all of that. What happens, especially as a woman of God, itinerant, a lot of people was telling me, when your husband come, you're not gonna be able to travel like this. You're not gonna be, and so I had anxiety about that. But I said, no, I'll receive that. God will give my husband capacity for my assignment if this is God's assignment. And so I also remember saying to myself during that part of preparation, this is what I said before. When people say, if your husband tell you take 3 months off, you can't travel. I was like, oh, he coming against my assignment. Nope, ain't no man gonna tell me. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready because I was still ready to argue and fight. But the moment I said, what if my husband said to me, you need to take about 6 months off just to rest, just to do that. I said, I want that. I said that to myself because I knew that when God sent my husband, he would come and care about the person. While everybody else care about what they can get from me, what I can do for them, and everybody, they don't care about Sophia. They care about the prophet, the coach, the ambassador. And so once I realized I want a husband who see me every day, who know my anxieties, my stress, the responsibilities, that'll say, babe, you know what? You don't have to travel. Take 3 months off and rest. It wasn't a fight. It was me looking at my husband say, you saying this because you actually care about the woman. And so I think that all of that goes into coming out of a single mentality to saying, I'm willing to submit and come under, meaning when God send you that man, you trust and feel safe that if you're saying he's going to cover me, then he knows exactly what I need, even when I don't. And that comes with a vulnerability of you trusting the man God's seeing. And you'll know that early on without, because they'll show red flags early on before that. But that's when you know as a woman you ready because you ain't ready to argue when he just holds you accountable to, yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh, you made sense. You made a lot of sense. That was good.
Hey y'all. Oh, she said you can answer that question, Coach D, too.
Did you want to answer the question that Carl, or was you gonna just let Coach Sophia answer the question? That was good. That was good. You can ask your question.
Okay. Um, I am an entrepreneur myself, and I'm kind of new to this. Um, and I deal with imposter syndrome. Like a lot of times, I think like I'm not, good enough to be in certain rooms, or because I just started, or I don't walk in like the boldness that I believe that I should sometimes. How have y'all ever, as entrepreneurs, dealt with that, and how do you come out of that?
I can start that. Yes, I feel like we probably all have dealt with that. How do you come out of that? Is learning how to work on self versus the business. And so, like, I spent a lot of time working on business, getting clients, making a lot of money. But then I realized, like, the imposter syndrome showed up, lack of integrity showed up. And it wasn't that I had these things concerning business, it was part of my identity. It was a part of who I was that was showing up in business. And so, oftentimes, people, this is how they end up failing in business. It's because they spend so much time being developed in business, but they're not being developed. And so I feel that if you're going to overcome those issues that will also eventually affect your money, you have to spend time developing self, like going to um, uh, signing up for master classes, find a leadership class, getting a mentor, not being afraid to be vulnerable. So, like, getting someone where they can develop you as the person. And I'm telling you this because I've definitely have lived this, because you need to have people that care more about you than they care about what you can do. And I can appreciate this about my coach because I'm very multifaceted and I work with high profile leaders like my coach, and I'm hired for my gifts and my talents. But coach was the only person who have ever told me, she said, "D," she said, "I fire you from all of this because I care about you." And that's when I realized that I had someone that's in my corner who cared about the development of the person versus versus serving in the gift. And so again, I would encourage you to find a coach, find a class, find a mentor, someone that you can share your vulnerability with, because the Bible said that if you confess your faults one to another, then you will be healed. And oftentimes we try to heal ourselves with no confession. A confession has to happen in order for healing to be made. So believe it or not, today with you standing up, it's part of your healing journey. It's already started.
Amen. Amen. Y'all give it up for the Fombys and the Wilsons. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, y'all can give it up, give it up, give it up. So how we end things on Jess Ask the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all of that. Go subscribe. But how we end it is we do last thoughts. And so out of everything that we spoke about with ministry, marriage, and marketplace, if they didn't hear one thing that came out of your mouth, what is that last thing that you want to leave with them? We'll start with you, Coach Tommy.
I would say put God first. Make sure you keep your character, integrity, all in place. Do not compromise to be no different. Don't worry about the likes, the hearts, and all that. Be yourself and let God do it in your life.
Mine is this anthem that I've had for 2 years now. It will be God or it will be God. And I believe that in whatever you do, whether it's ministry or marketplace, trust God. If God is in it, you'll be successful in all things.
I would tell anyone that it's important to stick to integrity and commit all the way to the end in spite of the adversity. Don't allow adversity or excuses to make you be a person who don't keep your word. People need to be able to be able to trust that you'll keep your word. And if you learn how to keep your word in the small things, then God can allow you to master the big things.
Um, it's funny. I was thinking. I was like, man, what would I say? And to sum it up, I would say, no matter your want or no matter how big the dream, neither one of those really matter, and it's all about the journey in between. That's it. No matter what you want, no matter how big your dream is, like, persistence will get you there if you just don't give up and quit. But the journey in between is what will literally keep you, or either make it seem like your dream was what you really wanted, or you were just talking about it. So um, I'm just an avid believer that, my shout out to my pops, my dad and my mom showed up. They had service today, so thank y'all for showing up. But he preached a message one time, and I felt like it kind of took me on this journey in life. And it's called. He said, "Tap your neighbor, say, dream big. Now watch God exceed it." And that literally changed the trajectory of everything in my life. And so no matter what your dream or your journey or whatever you want, the journey in between is what it's really about. And if you literally do not give up, it is only a matter of time because it's already yours.
Amen. That's good. Let's give it up for them one more time. I appreciate all of you. I want to thank you for being on this platform. Congratulations to the Fombys again for a grand opening
Thank
of the
you.
link. We appreciate you. Y'all watching on YouTube, listening on Apple Music, Spotify. Thank you for tuning in. And until next week, life could be much more simple if you just ask.